So, I just got back from the hair salon, but the last thing I did before going was I finally watched the last Try movie, and I'm gonna make a video about it, but I have some thoughts. I mentioned this on Twitter, but I'm so on the fence about this as a series now that I'm like angry about it because I really wanted to love this set of movies. Ignoring that my hair is doing this because of my fan, I was so excited when these movies were announced back in 2015, 2016 because Adventure is my baby. I love it so much. And there is so much lore in this series between Adventure and Zero Two that could have been put into these Try movies that you just completely squandered and didn't do anything with in favor of a new character. I don't know if this is considered unpopular or popular, but I can't stand Mako as a character because everything about her is so unnecessary to this entire story. She is so forced into everything, into the friend group, into the plot, that she feels so out of place, and you're kind of just wondering why she's there, like, at all. The forced romance between her and Taichi broke me out in hives every time that they tried to force a scene between them, because it didn't make any sense, and it was so just, like, not needed, and there were so many romantic avenues they could have went with this series, including Takeru and Hikari and Koshiro and Mimi. And I would have even accepted Sora and Yamato, but instead of doing things with the characters that they have been working with for like 15, 20 years, they decided to force a romance between the protagonist and a new character that doesn't matter. The Zero Two kids have, like, no place in this series either, which is super crazy to me, and, they saved the world, and they were placed in, like, basically chambers for them to live in forever and to never wake up from. Mako was considered more important than the Zero Two kids, and they had already, done what they needed to, and they deserved a place, and instead they put in this Mary Sue character. For what? I hate the term Mary Sue in principle just because it's never used in a correct or good way, but there's no other way to describe this character. Like, she feels like a deviant art, like, OC that they wanted to put in, and why? Why? There are so many plot lines and things they could have done with Try that would have been a million times better than what they did with it, because they opened up so many avenues in Zero Two, and then they didn't do anything with them. The most that I'm really salty about is the Dark Ocean stuff, which was really prevalent in Zero Two, especially to Hikari and with Takeru, and they squandered it on a weird scene with that one woman whose name escapes me. Like, we see her go in there with, like, a gun, and she's taken over by monsters in the ocean, and then that's it. That's all we get of that, when there could have been so much deeper stuff with characters that had already been there, and it would have made more sense. I think what I'm also really upset about is that they treated characters that had been there the whole time and that had been in both series, like Hikari and Takeru, like they weren't they weren't important parts of, like, the series, when they were, like, huge parts. It's pretty prevalent in the series that, like, when shit's getting real, like, we gotta get Antoine and Antoine to come up, and they gotta do Digimon, and it's gonna be real cool and real exciting, and that's how you knew. But, like, even now, like, in Try, even when that happens, it doesn't feel like there's as much impact anymore, which it upsets me on a lot of levels, because I always thought that was the coolest parts of the original and in Zero Two, but no, not here, not. I will say, at least Takeru got time in his movie, and his entire movie wasn't always focused on Mako like Hikari's was. I'm just, like, between the super forced romance between Mako and Taichi, and the, oh, poor Mako, even though everybody had saved the world at, like, 10 years old and 8 years old before, and just how she doesn't fit, like, I can't. The only enjoyable parts of these movies are the parts where she's not focused, and I feel like this is all about doesn't need to be prevalent anymore. At all. I could probably write like an entire essay on things that this series should have done with the Tri movies, but I am so tired and I don't want to anymore because I almost don't care anymore despite the fact that I love this series. I think it just mostly comes down to me being super disappointed because they had so much to work with and they had so much to do, and instead they wasted all of their time on a character that was new and that didn't have any flaws and was just there. And they ended up making her feel more like the protagonist than Taichi was, and I'm so salty, guys. I'm so salty about these last two movies. Like, the fact that these movies have been coming out over a period of, 2 or 3 years, and I've had to wait to watch this train wreck makes it even worse, because I wasted all of that time being excited about them, you know? The good parts of this final movie, I would say, were the big Takeru Nakari scenes, the scene with Sora and Yamato in the first part of the last movie, the scene with Taichi and the teacher in around the third or fourth part of the last movie is really good and made me really sad, and I got a little emotional about it because he was a genuinely good new character who had a lot to do. A lot of the things with Yamato and the goggles that he takes after that thing happens with Taichi, I think are really good, and it's a really nice development, and it made me really emo about it. I feel like if anything is the crux of Digimon Adventure as a series, it's definitely Yamato and Taichi's friendship/relationship, and I was so glad that they made that such a big deal in this one. I feel like if you take away Mako, their relationship is still one of the biggest things that sort of keeps the series going, and that makes me immensely happy. Because I think they both have such a good bond and friendship, and I love them so much. I would have really loved to see more of Hikaru and Takeru. They're my favorite characters, so I feel like it's a little biased. But I feel like they could have done a lot more with Hikaru, especially, and they didn't. They just squandered her. Like always, why? The really good parts of Tri were when she was like weirdly possessed, and the last movie where she kind of glows and then she's getting like visions again, and it brought me back to Adventure so like quickly, and I was so happy about that. Like, there's a scene towards the end of the movie where Takeru and Hikaru meet the weird fake Jedi, and they call her like the goddess of whatever, and I was so into that. Why didn't they like do it? What's up with it? Why not? Why? I feel like Hikaru's weird connection to the digital world and the real world and all of these other universes is so important, and it never gets elaborated on for some reason, and why, I don't understand. I just don't. In 02, there's this scene about how there's multiple parallel universes, and I feel like that would have been awesome material for Tri, and they just squandered that again, and I don't understand why they didn't. I think my problem with the Tri movies and with everything about it is that there's just so much material and so much lore that they have built up over the years that they just don't do anything with, at all. There are all of these really cool ideas and these really cool, well, it might be cool to see more of, and then it just dies after, an episode, and you never hear about it again at all. I could keep complaining about this forever, and I'll probably, the big ol' video I make about it will probably be very long, but, final thoughts. Overall, I still feel pretty on the fence about it, even after talking it out on camera, but I don't hate these movies. I'm just disappointed about them. I feel like the Tri movies had a lot of possibility and a lot of things they could have done, and then they proceeded to not do any of those things, and I just have to, be well, oopsies. I mentioned this on Twitter, I really enjoy the earlier movies, I think because they focus on just their lives and that slice of life kind of aspect to them, and I want to see more of that, because that was good and fun. I think once they started, wanting to put in, lore and battles and all of that stuff, it ended up being not as good, and because I think they just didn't know what to do with it, and that makes me sad. The second and third try movies are the two best movies. I really like the first one, despite people being like, "Oh, it started out real slow." I think it's really good and much better than the last two. If I had to rate these last two movies, not the last one, but the one that I watched last night would get like a firm 4 out of 10. I wasn't paying that entire movie. I was not a fan of that at all. The last movie is actually pretty good, aside from the last scene and a couple things I definitely just rolled my eyes at. So I'd give it like a firm like 7 out of 10. It was pretty good. Aside from a couple bad scenes, it's good. If you haven't watched Try and you happen to want to, when you get to Coexistence, skip to the last 20 minutes, because that's really all that matters, because there's nothing else going on in that movie except bad writing. Bad writing! There is one whole good scene in part 3 of Coexistence that I would recommend you watching, but it's just kind of cute and funny, and it doesn't really actually matter. So if you watch Try and you watch Coexistence on that train of getting through those movies, you only have to watch the fourth part. That's my recommendation. Overall, I would give Try as like a series, like a 6.5. Just on the basis of I still love Digimon, I still love Adventure, I still love those characters so goddamn much. But they did such a disservice to almost everybody that I'm just so sad about it. And they could have done better, and I hope if they do ever continue on with Adventure, they do something good with it. If you didn't get me on my story last night, I'm sorry for making you suffer through these. I didn't plan on it, but I haven't been using Instagram a lot, and Instagram stories are kind of fun to make, so, that's happened. If more things come out of shows that I'm heavily invested in, maybe I'll do more of these, because it was fun. But otherwise, you get to hear me shut up about Digimon. Finally. Thanks for watching these, I suppose, and I'm sorry that there are so many videos to go through, and that I am very dissatisfied about what is essentially a children's anime. But it's a children's anime that got me into anime, and it essentially is what made me want to be a voice actor in the first place, so I feel like I have a little bit of a connection to it, and I don't know, I'm sad to see it go this way. Anyways, thank you for watching and listening to me rant and reading all of my stories. Maybe I'll do this again soon. Bye-bye!